Hello, everyone. My name is Caitlin Carroll, and the topic for my PowerPoint presentation is effective management techniques. To begin, being a manager is never easy under any circumstances. There are many factors that go into being a manager, and managers need to have effective decision-making skills and also be able to handle issues as they may arise abruptly. With being a manager, there are many pros and cons. I'm going to first start off with going over the pros, the authority, and just having that type of responsibility and role to make important decisions to lead the group in a positive manner. Value. This is more of the value the manager gives to their company. They realize they are important and how much they can bring to the table to effectively manage their team and help the company continue to grow. Accomplishment. This sense of feeling of accomplishment when you or your group executes a plan, reaches a goal, and like I previously said, helps the company grow and does something good for the company. And you know, as a manager, that you played an effective and important role in that accomplishment. A sense of job satisfaction. So this kind of goes with value, authority, and accomplishment. Just getting the satisfaction of being a leader and being someone important to the company and having people look up to you and rely on you is a really good feeling. And then also increased income. Obviously, you work to pay bills, to live your life, and do what you need to do. So an increased income can help add to this, to a lifestyle. As for the cons, um, managers are always being watched by their superiors, by the chief executives. So that's a lot of responsibility and a lot of pressure. Ownership. So if you're the leader, you have to own your issues. You have to own when things goes wrong. You have to own when someone you're in charge of messes up. So everything falls on you. So like I just said, that's a lot of pressure. And this also takes us into legal liabilities. So you always have to make sure that not only you, but everyone you are governing is in legal obligations with the law and are always following the laws, because in business laws are changing and standards are changing. So these always need to be known and understood by everyone. Next is restrictions. And this is kind of just understanding your role. So as a manager, you're not the head man, you're not the owner of the company, but you need to understand your role and what you can and can't do and how you can and can't do it. As for longer work hours, being the manager, you're obviously going to have to put in a lot more time than everyone else because, again, everything falls on you. So you have to take that extra leap and put in that extra effort to make sure that everything is being handled effectively and appropriately. And finally, potential alienation from colleagues. So in the workplace, people have friends. People become friends through work. They like to hang out outside of work, before work, during work. But when people are in different positions and have different roles, and some have more powers than other, this can cause a sense of sometimes jealousy, envy, or even just a sense of uncomfortableness because people aren't going to be treated the same if you're not in the same role or held to the same standard. And honestly, even the pay could affect people and how they look at people. And sometimes situations will have to be handled where managers will have to reprimand someone, hold someone accountable, and it may be taken personally by some people because there may not be that strong of a relationship there to understand how to differentiate work and play. So next is how to be a good manager. These are just some key facts that I found online. And the first one is organize your team and their work. So everyone you're in charge of needs to have an organized agenda and schedule, know what they're doing, when they're doing it, how they're doing it. Next, train your team and equip them to do the work. When you are a manager, you need to be able to train and equip your team to do the work that is assigned to them. This can be easier said than done in certain situations where team members have never worked in a certain field or they're being introduced to new things. So this kind of also leads into communication and just communicating a role so everyone knows what they're doing, what needs to be done, like I just said, and how it needs to be done. So communication even can go with lower level employees who look up to a manager, and they can communicate if they are confused or lost about something and just need to be redirected. Next is motivate your team. I think this is a really important one because when it comes to work, sometimes people need to be motivated. So I think understanding the employees and the group of people you're working with is important to understand who reacts to what and how people react to certain management types and styles. But I think motivation and rewards are good because it gives people a sense of drive to want to do well and want to succeed. Next is leading by example. I think the manager needs to set a really high standard for all employees by their example, by how they do their job, by how they react to situations that don't always go their way, and how they want their employees to act, I think is really important, and it starts from the top. Next is setting achievable goals for yourself and your team. This also comes with, I think, understanding your team and understanding who you're working with and to set achievable goals. We can't set goals that are too high or out of reach because then once people perceive them as unachievable, they are mentally tapped out and they will not be able to see the goal because they can't believe the goal. And then finally, time management and consistency. I think time management is a big one because all employees need to prioritize their time and prioritize their goals and the goals of the organization and how they can get these done. And this kind of goes along with consistency. So I think a consistent schedule and keeping the day-to-day daily routines consistent will help with reaching and achieving organizational goals. And then this also kind of leads into skills of a manager. Like I've said, leadership, determination, problem solving, motivation skills, planning, interpersonal skills, and delegation. All of these skills that I just stated are really key characteristics that all effective managers, I think, need to have. I think in some way or another, these skills need to be portrayed in their day-to-day activities and the way they handle their situations and go about their work days. And then finally, in closing, as I have stated and hopefully portrayed throughout this presentation, being a manager is not an easy role to fill. A manager needs to have strong leadership qualities, sharp decision-making and problem-solving skills, and always lead by example to their respective groups. After doing some research, I now better understand the qualities and techniques an effective manager needs in order to lead and manage their teams. Here's my works cited page, and thank you for listening to this presentation.